In the name of God. In this session, we will keep on the previous topic about this part, which is lexicography around the world, which is an overview on the lexicography around the world. It is not important, and you shouldn't need to read this topic and its matter. Another important matter and topic is looking to the future, lexicography in the internet era. As you know, internet has a vital role in corpus linguistics. Therefore, it is necessary to read the role of internet in creating lexicography. Contrary to what was analyzed in part 2, the chapters in part 6 describe specific tools, theories, methods, and so on that are changing the theory and practice of lexicography at the concrete level. In general, these are concerned with the role of the internet in lexicography. Ziemianko's electronic dictionaries emphasize the integration of electronic dictionaries into educational software packages. She sees this as well as customization as the main driving force of lexicography in the internet era. Ziemianko claims that both access to personalized or customized lexicographic data and assurance of its quality will influence the appearance of new business model and with them new types of dictionaries for human consumption. Ziemianko also adds that electronic lexicography is not just a continuation of print lexicography. Please pay attention to this point, that electronic lexicography is not just a continuation of a print lexicography, nor does it mean merely making print dictionaries available online or some data carrier. Therefore, as Ziemianko emphasized on this point, that lexicography in the internet era, electronic lexicography is not just the continuation of the print lexicography, and even it is not the making print dictionaries available online or on some data carrier. Who is using the web for lexicographic purposes examines the interlinked concepts of user, data, and access that define online dictionaries and lexicographic tools on the web nowadays. In terms of the user parameters, OE draws on Hayes' 2005 concept of lexical priming for providing a coherent explanation of different construal in the mental lexicon of various users for the same term in a different situation. For the data parameter, he revises the apparently contrastive use of web as corpus and web for corpus, and finds the idea of lexicographical corpus particularly useful. In terms of access parameter, okay, here, according to these three concepts, he defined the electronic lexicography. And here, in terms of the access parameter, OE outlines the attendant issue that lexicography, it means electronic lexicography, brings with it competitive lexicography, vice versa cooperative lexicography. The transference from printed to electronic formats and content adequacy. Hargreaves information retrieval for lexicographic purposes enumerates several resources that can be used to facilitate lexicographers' work. The search engine, Google, Gram, Viewer, WordNet, the Pattern Dictionary of English VerbNet, FrameNet, Google Image Search, and so on. He illustrates the working of these systems and how they can be used in lexicography. The coming of age of the Internet is also influencing the role users can have in lexicography, either as informants in online usage, research, or as amateur lexicography in cooperative lexicography. Here in this paragraph, you should just point to the important matter. You should summarize it in about 3 lines. Very briefly, you can summarize this paragraph for your summarization. Muller, Spitzer, Coupling, and Wolfer's dictionary usage research in the Internet era argues that usage research is totally necessary and illustrates this hypothesis by commenting on the benefit of the 3 online methods whose working are detailed in full. Using online questionnaires, employing eye tracking technologies. Eye tracking is one of the technologies in measuring the brain performance, and interpreting goal log files. Mayer and Apple's user participation in the Internet era focuses on the user participation in lexicography project and comments that such an activity should be incorporated into the meta-lexicographic research environment, especially by introducing research questions related to, say, the analysis and development of user participation, the meaningful selection and implementation of suitable method when planning a product, and evaluation of motivational factors, quality, legal restrictions, and effectiveness of user participation method. They put their hypotheses to work and offer a unified framework for classifying user activities and contribution. This comprises 3 types of user participation: direct user participation, indirect user participation, and accessory user participation. Okay, in each paragraph you can see the subject which is related to lexicography in the Internet. For example, dictionary usage research in the Internet era, or user participation in the Internet era. Here in this paragraphs you can see the title which are related to lexicography in the Internet era, and here you can see the matter of this chapter in brief. For your summarization, you can see that this title is related to lexicography in Internet, and you just give a brief about, you can describe this line in brief by about 2 lines. And here again, you should mention this title and give about 2 or 3 lines description of this title. The role of users in the era of the Internet is also dealt with Buller, Dijkstra, and Sagan's dictionary portals. Okay, in the chapter of this book, you can see the matter which are connected to the lexicography in the Internet. For example, in this chapter, you can see the role of user in the era of the Internet. You should just mention the important point. It is not important, just you should know that the user has a important role in creating the electronic lexicography. They analyze Edinburgh and Muller-Spicer's typologies of dictionary portal and comment on the result of a survey that has been conducted in the context of the European network of e-lexicography. The analysis of the results shows the main characteristics of the three types of dictionary portal identified so far: dictionary nets, dictionary search engines, and dictionary collection. Okay, these three terms are important for we consider them as three types of dictionary portal, which you can mention them in your summarization. They finished their contribution by offering several proposals for making dictionary portal more useful for users. And these are basically related to augmentation search system and facilitating search in context. Okay, these three terms, these three type of dictionary portal, their goal is to augmentation search system and facilitating search in context. Okay, we have another matter which is about the future of lexicography toward an international directory of lexicography. In one of the chapter it will be discussed, show the necessity of having a directory of lexicography where lexicographers, researchers, and publishing houses have access to lexicographers' name and addresses, lexicographer resources, lexicographic institution, research centers, publishers, conferences, and so on. Okay, here you can see the matters which exist in the International Directory of Lexicography. You will be familiar with such a concept. We finished this article and we summarize it in 2 sessions. Please pay attention to their important point and summarize just important point. It is not necessary to say all of the details. Another article which is related to the lexicography is building an international corpus of Arabic, ICA, progress of compilation stage. We will read this article in this session and the next session. I think it is useful for you to be familiar with the international corpus of Arabic and about its progressing of the compilation stage. This paper focuses on the 3 axes. We will discuss on the 3 axes in this article. The first axis gives a survey of the importance of corpora in language studies like lexicography, grammar, semantics, natural language processing or NLP, and other areas. Okay, in one of the axes we discuss such a concepts or matters which is about the lexicography, grammar, semantic, NLP, and other areas. The second axis demonstrates how the Arabic language lacks textual resources such as corpora and tools for corpus analysis, and the effect of this lack on the quality of Arabic language application. There are rarely successful trials in compiling Arabic corpora. Therefore, the third axis presents the technical design of the International Corpus of Arabic, or ICA, a newly established representative corpus of Arabic that is intended to cover the Arabic language as being used all over the Arab world. The corpus is planned to support various Arabic studies that depends on authentic data in addition to building Arabic natural language processing application. Okay, in this article we will read some concepts connecting to Arabic corpus. There are 2 points of view about the need for corpora. The first one says that there can not be any corpora, however large, that contain information about all of the areas of any language, lexicon, and grammar of that language. The second point of view is that every corpus, however small, has taught the person facts that couldn't be imagined finding out about it any other way. Okay, here we see 2 points of view about the need for corpora. The first one was that there cannot be any corpora, however large, that contain information about all of the areas of any language, lexicon, and grammar of that language. The second point of view is that every corpus, however small, has taught the person facts that couldn't be imagined finding out about in any other way. A number of large corpora have been assembled in the last few years, but the idea itself is not new. It can be traced back to the German linguist Scheding, who in 1897 used a large corpus of German 11 million words to collate frequency distribution of letters and sequences of letters. This corpus by size alone is impressive for its time and compares favorably with more modern corpora. Okay, here you can see the history of corpus. I think it is necessary to point to this the history of corpora as a whole in your summarization. In the late 20th century, there were attempts to develop a number of large corpora language which can be electronically searched. Early signs of the modern era of corpus linguistics are dated by McHenry and Wilson in 1996 from 1960, when Kirk in 1960 planned and implemented his ambitious survey of English usage, or SEU. At the same time, Francis and Castro began compiling the Brown corpus, which was developed over the following 2 decades. In 1975, Jan Swartwick began extending the work of the SEU in the Brown corpus to construct the London Land corpus. We are familiar with such corpus, London Land and Brown. In 1994, the Cambridge and Nottingham corpus of discourse in English, CanCode, began, funded by Cambridge University Press, and presently contain 5 million words of transcribed data. Okay, here in this paragraph you will be familiar with the history of corpus. I think it is important, and I want you to summarize this paragraph and mention it in your summarization, and you should be familiar with such a corpus which we read before, like a Brown corpus, like London Land corpus. In section 2, the role which corpora can play in a number of different fields of study related to language are discussed. The focus is on the conceptual issues of why corpus data are important to this area and how they can contribute to the advancement of the knowledge in each, providing real examples of corpus use. In section 3, here we can see the structure of the article. The previous trial to building Arabic corpora and goal of building those corpora are discussed. Also, the advantages and disadvantages of those corpora and tools which are built to analyze those corpora are mentioned. According to the previous section, it is found that there is an urgent need for having a real Arabic corpus, which is discussed in section 4. The focus will be on the International Corpus of Arabic, or ICA, its goal and its design and compilation. Section 5 explains the ICA software program. As ICA would be used in various Arabic language studies, a software application were built to be used for that purpose. Okay, pay attention to this point, that this paragraph is not important. You shouldn't mention it in your summarization. This paragraph is not important, because here you can see just the structure of this article, and you shouldn't mention this paragraph in your summarization. Applications of corpora in language research. The importance of corpora to language and linguistic studies is aligned to the importance of empirical data. Empirical data enable the linguist to make objective statements rather than those which are subjective or based upon the individual's own internalized cognitive perception of language. As language and linguistics studies cannot rely on intuition or small samples of language, they require empirical analysis of large database of text, as in the corpus-based approach. Okay, here we can see the role and importance of corpus and a corpus to language and linguistics, which they compare the importance of corpus or corpora in language or linguistics with empirical data, as the empirical data enable the linguist to make be objective. The corpus help the linguist to be an objective. As the empirical analysis needs a large database of text, in corpus we need a large databases of the text. Here you can see the comparison of the empirical data and corpus in language or linguistics. Corpus-based methods can be used to study a wide variety of topics within linguistics. Okay, it is one of its rules, which the corpus-based methods can be used to study a wide variety of topics within linguistics, because corpora consist of text. They enable the linguistics to contextualize their analysis of language. Corpora are very well suited to more functionally based discussions of language and linguistics. Modern computers have made it possible to store a large number of texts and to analyze a large number of linguistic features in those texts. Okay, one of the important rule of corpora is that they contains a large number of text or a large number of features, and by modern computer we will be able to store a large number of texts, and even we can analyze them through this computer. You can see in this paragraph the role of corpus and the role of modern computers in creating corpus, which they can store a large number of text, and we can analyze a large number of linguistic features through these computers. However, linguists of all persuasions have discovered that corpora can be very useful resources for pursuing various resources of research agendas. Due to the importance of corpus in language and linguistic studies, as mentioned in the previous paragraph, the next 5 sections will clarify it into 5 points: the need for corpus in lexicography, grammar, semantics, natural language processing, and other language studies. Our important matters in this article start from this title: corpus in lexicography. It is important. From now, all of the matter are important. Lexicography research investigated the meanings, synonyms, and the use of words. Lexicography research investigated the meanings, synonyms, and use of words. It is the matter of lexicography research. Meaning, synonym, and the use of words. In more recent times, such investigations were extended using corpus-based techniques to study the ways that words are used, considering issues such as how common are different words, how common are different senses for a given word, do words have a systematic association with other words, do words have systematic association with particular registers or dialect. By consulting a corpus, the lexicographer can be more confident that the results obtained reflect the actual meaning of the particular word more accurately, because here we have a large number of data. Because corpus data contain a rich amount of textual information, regional variety, author data, genre, part of speech, tags, and etc. It is important that the lexicography can be more confident that the result obtained reflect the actual meaning of the particular word more accurately, because corpus data contain a rich amount of textual information, regional variety, author data, genre, part of speech, tags. It is easier to tie down researches of particular words or phrases as being typical of particular regional varieties, genres, and so on. Okay, in these paragraphs, you will be familiar with the role of corpus in lexicography. Modern dictionaries depends on corpora of different sizes and types of frequencies, listening, concordances, and collocation, illustrative sentences, and grammatical information. If corpora are not representative of the different language usages of a speech community, they may prove to be unreliable sources of lexicography information. Corpora have changed the way in which linguistics can look at the world, at the language. Here in this paragraph, you can see the role of corpus in the lexicography. You should point to these matters. The open-ended monitor corpus has its greatest role in dictionary building, as it enables lexicographers to keep on top of new words entering the language, or existing words changing their meanings, because it is accurately reflecting the actual meaning of a particular word. However, finite corpora also have an important role in lexical studies. In the area of quantification, a linguist who has access to a machine-readable corpus can call up all the examples of a word or phrase from many millions of words of text in a few seconds. You can see another important rules of the corpus. Dictionaries can be produced and revised much more quickly than before, thus providing up-to-date information about language. Also, definitions can be more complete and precise since a larger number of natural examples are examined. Here you saw the role of corpus in lexicography, and it is important. You should summarize this paragraph in one paragraph. There is a need to mention the details about these matters. Examples from Arabic show the need for corpus in lexicography. Okay, here we can see the examples from Arabic which show the need for corpus in lexicography. Investigating word meaning. One of this example is investigating word meaning. One of the important reason which we refer to lexicography or dictionary is to find the meaning of the word. Therefore, sometimes investigating of the word meaning is not an easy task for us. Here we can see the role of corpus in finding the word meaning. One of the advantages of corpus-based research is that the corpus can be used to show all the contexts in which a word occurs. By corpus, you can see all the contexts in which a word can occur. It is possible to identify the different meaning associated with a word due to one word may have more than one meaning in different contexts. By using corpus, this kind of ambiguity can be ascertainably detected. In this table, table 1 shows the Arabic word qalb, which has 3 meanings as a noun. Okay, by using the corpus in lexicography, you can investigate the word meaning as quickly as possible. You can see the meaning of that word in all the contexts in which that word can occur, and even you can see the different meaning of that word in different contexts. For example, here we have the word meaning, which we have here 3 meaning for the word qalb, and we can see the sentences which this word can comes. For example, qalb means core, which is which we can see in this sentence. It means heart, which you can see that in this sentence. About this, it means center or middle, which you can see its example. The meaning of qalb as a noun. It was one of the important role of corpus in lexicography. Investigating word frequency. In the first step in understanding the patterns of use associated with a word, some questions should be answered like, which words are the most common in a language? Which are uncommon? Where does a particular word fit on the continuum of very common to very uncommon? In dialectal Arabic telephone speech corpus, a list of high-frequency colloquial words has been made. Also in lab corpus, a list of words frequency has been made. Investigating the variation lexical category. You can summarize this paragraph in 2 lines. Just refer to the frequency of the word. Investigating the variations in lexical category. In this section, the frequency of a word as a lexical category, it means that noun, verb, adjective, and etc. has been investigated due to it may found one word has more than lexical category in different contexts as shown in table 2. The lexical categories of ein word. Word meaning ein, which is proper noun. You can see its example. Wellspring, which is noun. And here we can see its example. I, which is noun, like this sentence. Delimitate or be delimitate, which is verb or passive verb, like this sentence. Investigating the use of synonyms. Languages have many words that are considered synonyms. Through corpus, the researchers can easily know synonyms of a word, the frequency of each word of those synonyms, and which one of them is more common. Okay, by corpus, the researchers easily can know about the synonym of word, the frequency of each word of the synonym, and which one of them is more common. About the word form according to its case. As the form of some Arabic words may change according to their case modes, nominative, accusative, or genitive, corpus enables the researchers to know the variation which happen to words. For instance, the Arabic word al-musarriyun changes according to its case as the table 3 shows. Here you can see the case, which is nominative. Arabic word is al-musarriyun. I'm not sure about my pronunciation. Accusative or genitive is al-musarrin. Examples of corpus-based lexicography. It is important you should know the example of corpus-based lexicography, because they can consider as an example for creating the lexicography or electronic lexicography. In the early 1980s, the publisher Collins and Birmingham University compiled the first mega-sized corpus, the co-built corpus. It is important, these paragraphs are important, and you should mention them in your summarization, which is about the corpus-based lexicography, the example of corpus-based lexicography. In the early 1980s, the publisher Collins and Birmingham University compiled the first mega-sized corpus, the co-built corpus, for a production of a new English dictionary. Co-built corpus, which was created in the 1980s by Collins and Birmingham University, which is about a new English, which is a production for a new English dictionary. It produced a number of dictionaries based on two monitor corpora: a Birmingham corpus, which is created in 1980 by this person. Its size at that time was 20 million words, and by the Bank of English corpus by the time the dictionary published in 1987. The Bank of English corpus has many potential uses, but it was designed primarily to help in the creation of dictionaries. Sections of the corpus were used as the basis of the BBC English Dictionary. You should know the size and the topic of this corpus. A dictionary that was intended to reflect the type of vocabulary used in news broadcasts, such as those on BBC. The vocabulary included in the dictionary was based on sections of Bank of English corpus containing transcriptions of broadcasts on the BBC, 70 million words, and on National Public Radio Washington, D.C., 10 million words. The Bank of English corpus was also used as a basis for more general purpose dictionary. The Collins co-built English Dictionary. Other projects have used similar corpora for other type of dictionary. It is very important, and you should know the name of this corpus, their subject, and their size. The Cambridge Language Survey has developed two corpora, the Cambridge International Corpus and the Cambridge Learners Corpus, to assist in the writing of the number of dictionaries, including the Cambridge International Dictionary of English. Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary use notes based on the Cambridge Learners Corpus to help students avoid common mistakes. You should know this example of corpus-based lexicography, and you should know their subject and their size. For example, for your final exam, I can give you one of these dictionary and invite you to uh, find their size and their subject. Young publishers assembled a large corpus of spoken and written American English to serve as a basis of Longman Dictionary of American English, and used the British National Corpus as a basis of Longman Dictionary of the Contemporary English. For example, for a final example, I can give you that about the Longman publisher assembled a large corpus of spoken and written American English to serve as a basis of the Longman Dictionary of American English. And I can ask you that what is the subject of Longman Dictionary of American English and the British National Corpus? What is their subject, which is they consist of a large corpus of spoken and written American English. It is their subject. Therefore, you should you should read these examples by their details, their size, and their subject. You should know them. The York Junior ELT or English Dictionary for Learners of English Dictionary explains the meaning of English words and phrases. It is its subject, and illustrates them with examples drawn from the electronically held corpus of written and spoken text of the modern English. ELT corpus lexicography consists of a compilation of dictionary entries in a computerized editing system using an electronic corpus as evidence. In a trilingual dictionary, Ulimpo French English items are included according to the word tradition and on account of their usage frequency in the corpus. The Oxford Dictionary of English is at the forefront of language research, focusing on English as it is used today, informed by the most up-to-date evidence from the largest language research program in the world, including the 800 million word Oxford English corpus. Okay. Another type of another example of corpus is the corpus in grammar. Corpus, these paragraphs are very important. You should know them. Corpus-based research can be applied to grammar on the word level, sentence level, discourse level to understand the structure of a language. It is possible to use corpora to obtain information on the structure and usage of many different grammatical constructions, and to use this information as the basis for writing a reference grammar of any language. Also, grammatical research within linguistics is almost exclusively descriptive rather than prescriptive. It generally doesn't use empirical methods to study language usage. Descriptive grammarians use field methods to identify the various paradigms in a language, while theoretical grammarians typically rely on their own intuition about language, sometimes supplemented by asking native speakers to judge whether made-up sentences are grammatically correct or not. You should note this point. Furthermore, none of those approaches focus on variation in language use. Because of this point of view, the grammarian find the important role of corpus in investigating the grammar of a language. The areas that traditional studies have neglected turn out to be the strengths of the corpus-based study of grammar. They neglect this matter. The availability of large corpora and computer tools make it possible to study the pattern way in which language users use grammatical resources of a language. By investigating the frequency distribution of various constructions, the association patterns between grammatical structures and other linguistics and non-linguistic factors, and the factors that affect choices between structural variation. Here you can see in this line the importance of corpus in grammar. You should mention this point, the role of corpus in the grammar. Grammatical or syntactic studies along with lexical studies were the most frequent type of research which use corpora. Corpora make a useful tool for syntactical research because of the potential for the representative quantification of a whole language variety. The role as empirical data for the testing of hypotheses derived from grammatical theory. This matter were very important, and you should know them, and you should mention them in your summarization. Please just summarize those points which I pay attention to them, and I focus on them. For example, the structure of this grammar of this paper is not important. You should mention them. Please just summarize the important point and ask your question about this session.